A lot of things are pretty obvious right now, more or less to some people. There are just some obvious truths that people know on an intuitive level. They just need to have a passageway of articulation and process for them to like, hear about it and then them experience it to some light to dark level, however that uniquely appears to the the new user who hears about a new concept, because in essence, everything is just a suggestion, everything is a concept. It's a it's a new thought packet that you're processing in your own software of a mind, and we process it at base from like a, this artificial level and this like intuitive level. So like everything is a suggestion in an essence, of what like even any creation of what something wishes to ultimately transpire into, and that word is a code too, transcend the spiral, and it's like, but which direction are you trying to transpire to? And equilibrium neutrality is, I guess, neutralizing both polarities in one essence, but pretty much there is like agendas, both constructive and deconstructive, and just seeing the I guess the wisdom of any profession, because the wisdom of the entrepreneur is like, is to quote unquote capitalize in distressful times, end quote. And distressful times, you know it's always a unique evolutionary wave, and that unique evolutionary wave is very unique per like the demographics and the overall emotional landscape, like true talk, because the emotional landscape is affected and provoked from the field of the radio waves. And I guess that's like behind the air, because like the ether waves are getting tampered in one sense, more or less. But the it's a battle of suggestions, it's a battle of psychologies, of inner archetypes. And it's like, oh, God's within. Okay, have fun with your duality. Goodbye. Have fun with your duality. Whatever that means. It's like, what is the modernality of constructivism of your purpose? Bare bone. And it's like, with that being said, it's like you're doing something for something because you want to like recognize something in yourself that is of a quote unquote fall, end quote, to for you to eventually gradually pristinely know about yourself and how you could evolve into be something else. Your existence is proof of that. That's just the biomechanics of the cosmic default of what it really means to, like, I guess, self implode and self organize. So with that being said, it's like some things are obvious, some things are not. We need suggestions, and we're always getting hit with suggestions energetically for constructiveness or for non-constructiveness. And pretty much it's like what's being presented to us, and it's like we expect other people to know what we're talking about, but we can't entirely expect that, because then we would cheat ourselves, because it would be a fault to ourselves for us to assume that someone else understands something, but maybe they do on a different level, because that's how intertwined this energy is. But it's like, but the energy is so layered, so therefore you can't expect that someone else knows it, so therefore you have to like go within your own casual cumulative process of comprehensive processing. And within that comprehensive processing is birthed new articulations for clarity on what works on an overall communalistic level, per any general basic biomechanics of how life functions, pro-life. Are you it's like there's good, bad, bad, good, bad, bad. And it's like, I guess, just seeing like um I guess why things are the way they are. I mean, that's been answered a couple of times, but it's like, if it's like, what's allowing the constructiveness to be in play too? So it's like, that's why it's not things are just suggestions. They're suggesting, while they can, while it's like there's a gradual takeover of all energies, and that is greater than good and evil at the same time, because it's just going beyond these like lower dualistic parameters. So it's like the key is like a new focus of your own, like, pretty much in essence, your own synergy band of like, you know um all your elemental themes and concepts, and all your elemental concepts are, paraded and masqueraded upon various filtration systems, such as the standard, mind, body, soul complex, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm sure you could add more, but they're all filtered through that. And they all more or less, go within and without, and they all have their own transcendental evolutionary process to become something that it could be that is more better, because things are always being updated and things are always being unupdated, because we're in this specific, like, plane of these polarities battling out however they choose to within your own individual life, and recognizing how we're having a shared collective timeline, and the quote unquote, complex, miseries of the game, end quote, is to, like, really see how the human design outlayered strategy and authority of the collective to each individual is the natural, macro path for us to function as our original organic being templates, and that being its own, like, pretty much stairway to the progressive modern ascension of all things, all things. And, like, basically you starting with you of your physical body and seeing how the DNA is being affected thereof from everything, mainly like the psychological maneuverability and navigation thereof of everything you're hearing from all your highest benevolent pure heart aspects, to the opposite of that, to all the chaos and harmony in between, and how that dances and makes more new chaos and harmony however it does so. And just recognizing, like, how, just because the energetic suggestion is there as a seed, we can't expect everybody to know, because if everybody did really really know, then there would be a better, more suitable action plan, so everyone's digesting their own roles too. It's like that's pretty obvious on a casual empathic level, because everything's always in, like, a mode of a new rate of, transformation. So there's a rate of transformation within every being, and that rate of transformation is, it could be very delicate, because it's like people are rigid in particular ways, and not even using the connotation of good or bad within the word rigid. Rigid just being, this is where your evolution brought you to, this is where the cosmic winds are, like, pointing to, more or less. And seeing what is going against it specifically. However, the new open source collective roundtable is doing that, which has already been suggested on, hinted on what level. So if it's already been suggested on, hinted on this level, and it came from quote unquote the future, end quote, then it has to be going on somewhere. So within that somewhere, we're anchoring that somewhere in its totality, holistic, synergistic, spherical scope within, like, pretty much the seed form of what it really means to modernize the equilibrium middle path and middle party of just all energetic, sovereign beings, of what really is, what really has obtained, this new modern sovereignty, like what, like, and that's not subject to just human. And seeing, like, all the realms and the quote unquote rings, end quote, of, like, the beings that have obtained this obtainable, new, unique, cutting edge sovereignty, and that cutting edge sovereignty, bleeding out over here, how it will, in very intricate ways. And obviously that coming out within every individual, because obviously, like, the input output flux, that is like that's your basic electromagnetic system. So whether that was obvious to you or not, now it's, it's suggested for better, and that suggested for betterment is, exponential, and hopefully, like, it finds a way to come back to you. Because if you're, like, sending, thought streams, and that having trajectories omnidirectionally, then if everything has its own casual input output, then it's like it's just recognizing, what blockages are there, and be it however they come to, like, formulate as they come to formulate, which could be a myriad of ways of formulation, and that myriad of ways of formulation um is unique per the environment and the overall energetic, psychological configuration thereof of your beliefs and your evolution. Because it's not all about, like, just your thoughts create your reality. That is a various that's a various percentage to that, because evolution creates your reality with no thoughts. So it's like you can't press the pedal, you can't press the gas pedal too much on some singularity individual thing. Yes, the focal point focus has its benefits, and it's obviously it's distractions because you can't get too tensed up on one concept, because then you're gonna like miss another concept when everything's supposed to be like symbiotic within its like whole field within all fields. So so just going back to the suggestion thing, um it's like, okay, like if so it's like there's no point to grasp if everything is in one essence, instantaneously now. Then it's just about this, the expression is the suggestion, and the suggestion is the expression in its own neutral form. And what that means is it's like we share things based on what like our soul wants to like needs to share, based on the co-inhabitants of all life specimen, and going beyond the lower mind traps of like, oh, duality, like, oh, if I share this, then there's going to be other forces that are going to conspire against that. And that may be true to some percentage degree, but then also it could be neutralized on a different heart level. And if you have your own synergy for trajectory movement, it actually could get neutralized in one essence too, basically on how your thoughts, your intentions, and your movements, and any other creativity from the collective field to overpower that basic stuff. So it's like back to the basics, and but that's on its own thing. But like pretty much, this is Lionsgate 2020. It is what it is for whatever's happening, but it is what we make it to be, as I've always youngly said. But pretty much, oh shit. So so the basis of this video was to pretty much say the first thing I wanted to say, but I didn't get to say, is this is a video game within a video game within a video game. So however, whatever, and everybody's on their own tier of a psychology profile. How there's like different castes based on the material wealth. Well, guess what? There's a caste differentiated and exclusive from that caste, and that's its own psychological intellectual cast, respectively, for total modern progressivism. Yeah, you could have intelligent, but some of these people's intelligences, it's not modern enough for me, and it's not heart dialed in enough for me. So that's why it's not in my field. Maybe that's why I'm not harmonic with like these so-called advanced metaphysicists or scientists, because if like they were really true scientists out there, then they would be pushing the envelope on what it really means to actually like see the cause and effect and the synergy of all energies, and the synergy collision clashing of all energies. And that's a suggestion in itself, and that is already in the instantaneous, all is now sphere plane of everything's happening now, such as the video game within the video game within the video game. And the lower mind psychological profile, having no awareness of what else could be and what else is influencing it thereof, is just kind of like only thinking on one scale of how could we capitalize, how could we just not have a total holistic approach on this, and let's just do it this way because I've been taught this way, and no judgment. But it's just like every case is so unique. But the point is, it's like going beyond the intention of one layer. It's multi-intentional of multi-harmony. And I've lost so much content, and I've saved so much content, and it's like one like little I guess justification is, oh, everything's recorded, but I'm here, this me is here, and I'm gathering what I'm gathering based on this plane. And it's interesting how all planes connect to all planes. And yeah, I have 17 podcasts, but pretty much one of my points is the video game within the video game within the video game, whether that is true or not, metaphorically or not, or however you would like to approach that. It's wh- how could we make a new video game with a constructive agenda based on your newly found realized mission, quote unquote, end quote. Ultimate healing modality is the collective, you know, wave of everybody's contribution, undoubtedly, because if everybody's so powerful and everybody's reciprocating with these electromagnetic you know capsules of energy harvesting, for better or for worse, then wouldn't that mean like you're contributing something to, everybody's healing for more or less? But pretty much is like, and it's like, yeah, there's a bunch of video games going on. Whip de doo. Like what's the simple awareness that's gonna take that any project to the longest mile, essentially to the longest yard of like what it really means to, prepare for the long haul as a collective symbiosis. And it's like, it's the irony of like everybody like being woke and having all this dharma and having all this purpose, but not really reciprocating and implementing like the dialed in, collective solutions. It's proof of like the synergy alchemy. And I've explained synergy alchemy like so many times 2 years ago, and I'll simply define it again. But it's the synergy alchemy of like, they're they're everything, which means like where they're at within their own like evolution. Like just because they're like light in one chakra and that has an accumulation of lightness, that doesn't mean they're dense in a different area for like its own, synergy ratio. And what synergy alchemy is like the multi-band energies of all your elemental alchemical elements of all of your bodies within of all your organs, and that connects to all your different selves, and that meshing to be, a unique, your unique rainbow body of your unique array of energies. So that's what synergy alchemy is. So it's like everybody has this unique synergy alchemy of endless awakening. So if like, okay, you're woke and you have this purpose, where's your simplified project in this now? How is that, meshing with other people's simplified projects, basic stuff, and to any guru on the planet respectively? It's like it's like what's the simple reply to this, and what conformities within your own mind have you been, susceptible to and quote unquote neutrally hijacked, because everything is like pretty much based on someone else's idea, every mode of thinking. And that's for neutrality, and that's for, biomaterially, and that's for like psychologically of like what it means to like, harbor and adopt someone else's, ideology, and you having like a multi-array of ever unfolding evolutionary ideologies based on what is appropriate for you, what's natural for you, and how you relate to the world at large, the future at large, the universe at large, your grand overall longest past at large, and this ultimate present moment at large. How are you redefining your presence, and how are you, and what aren't you recognizing in like all this universal like law of attraction, law of frequency, law of vibration, all this, a skyscraper, high in the clouds kind of thing. That is it's that is only true to its own percentage. And that base level is that's a reverse polarity to the base level we're at. And the base level of we're at is the mechanics of this plane is the system we're inhabiting. So when anybody brings this new age wisdom mumbo jumbo of like this makes that, that is like second or third stage. We have to like recognize the filter on what actually like dictates how we even like could access those type of energies, while seeing what like blockades are already in place, like, because the system is a system with an agenda, and with that system of agenda, that kind of like undercurrents the real law of attraction, law of frequency thing. Because look at, if I guess because like if your thoughts create your reality, it's like it only does so to a percent. And the synergy alchemy of like, I get it. And I don't want to say it like it's a spiritual thing, but it is a spiritual thing. It's the synergy alchemy of like how like how intermeshed and how grand is your spiritual evolution, mental evolution, physical evolution, and your overall energetic, emotional um body, and how it's connected with all those bodies, and that has like a unique emotional web of, where all emotions range in all directions thereof based on like your disposition on pretty much everything, right? So it's like putting that on the forefront and seeing like why can't what and why can't we simplify that to people? So basically the video game within the video game within the video game, it's like things are in the if you're redefining your present moment and all is now, quote unquote, end quote, then the grasping is irrelevant, and the expectations are irrelevant too, because things are as they are. If things are as they are, then you're wasting time and energy, more or less, on thinking how you could change things for the worse, and ultimately you're causing your own suffering as of now. The suffering and the bliss is, synergistically, alchemically unique per our all of our inner bodies, and that having its own bleed out ratio effect within each other's body, within your own harmonic, I guess, multidimensional body, within its own awoke and dormant ratio, because no matter how woke or asleep you are, you still have intactness to a connection to something, of a something, whether it's, activated or non-activated. The potential is still there. So the potential of what? The potential of what you've culminated, cultivated, be it, the past, the future, and whatever, and or the present. And the future is like, the future is unlinear for sure, but the point of this video was, oh, I'm going on 21 minutes. Wow. The point of this video was, just to, like, I guess, casually suggest the recognition of awareness, and the prime functionality of what it really means to actually heal Earth to its maximum degree. That's it. And just seeing this new agenda for what it is, calling it out for what it is, respectively, and seeing, and I guess just, anchoring your own critical thinking skills how you will, Um, and yeah, that's pretty much it, because I wrote in I wrote in my notes of just like, and I messaged Dan Winter like 3 years ago of like, hey, maybe we should make some Bliss satellites. I have no problem like sharing that idea if the fucking, the internet hackers already have some data of me. That was 3 years ago. How about we have some blissful, energetic healing satellites, and maybe there is a satellite, quote unquote, war, end quote, going on, of just like the accumulation of love, bliss, versus the opposite of that, and new energies thereof, and none of those energies, because we're still in the beginning phases of what we're even realizing of what we are to be. Like, if the discovery of self is endless, then you're discovering the source of you to the source of it all. And it just goes back to the question: is, does, quote unquote, a living source intelligence exist, end quote, or does it not? And if it doesn't, then it's then anything is really like subject to happen. But if it does, then then it's just so intricately advanced that we can't even fathom like how all of this is perfect, more or less. I'm not saying that that is or isn't my opinion, end quote, to to the previous sentence, but I'm just saying that is a valid, present proposal to what is happening, like asking if there is a source or not. And just that, having that being its own preponderance, because if there is a source of everything, of the multiverse, then that means it's like bigger than me. I don't want. And I've said it in an earlier video. It's not about ego crushing. It's about the soul's expression of what needs to be said based on my perspectival awareness, based on what's coming into my feed, and what am I doing to, like, neutralize it for the safety of me, and the safety of my purpose, and the safety of, what everyone is so hyped up about. And everybody, the biggest sign of intelligence is to analyze how much are you analyzing yourself. Like that, I think Khalil Gibran said that, or some old, and there's been a lot of wisdom, but all that wisdom and knowledge, is what is it for if it's not being used and embodied, how, to whatever percentage. And it's like, it could be like it could be a quote unquote sick, end quote, mission, based on like, okay, this is the prime function leverage of how we're actually gonna achieve the prepondered, result and action plan that we supposedly are meditating on. But we have this particular unique individual hindrance based on my own predispositional, perspective of my evolution and how I interact with this other evolution, and that being, infinite fold. So it's like, I guess just pushing it how you will based on what you know, pushing anything, pushing anything of constructivism. You don't have to push my message. I'm just saying, and I don't, and it's like, and even if like I did 17 podcasts, even if one of the podcasts, that the one I just recently posted, even if that was bunk, the energetic intention was there to back me up, whether, because it was it was sloppy, and I work with what I have, and it's like, the alchemist turns lead into gold, the alchemist turns, dirt into glitter, pretty much. So pretty much like putting it out there and it having its own casual omni circulation, how it will, as it already has if it's coming to me. But seeing like the circulation and how it comes specifically uniquely within this galaxy, and how it's being pinged effectively within this galaxy, and pretty, ooh, I had something else to say too. Yeah, so just oh, see, I get too excited. That synaptical Y road of like seeing like what's happening with what's happening with all of this, pretty much. And don't you hate it when that happens? And I've said this like a million times, like you think of something and then you forget about it, but then it comes back. Oh yeah, I guess. Oh yeah, okay. So like and just looking at the just looking at the chakra diagram for what it is, open source, meta trade market, where it's like, okay, this is the suggestion of it, we all could use it, and there being more details behind that, but like just like, putting it out there of like anybody who suggests something, they have they have a, from a neutral perspective, it is dubbed and labeled as, there's a unique agenda for better or worse within a unique system, for better or for worse, that is inhabited in a unique domain within the space of the galaxy, the universe, multiverse, etc. ad infinitum. So there is that. If that is not, if that is not cognitive, or if that is not, critical thinking enough for you, then maybe we'll see, we'll hear about you again or something, or not even like that, but yeah, seeing the chakra diagram for what it is, seeing the functions for what they are, seeing how everybody uniquely extracts and interprets this, and like seeing the gifts of it all, but like, yeah, and like seeing like your own, like how you're like dancing with your own opinions, and and seeing the unique relationship with you and all of your opinions, for better or worse. But pretty much the chakra diagram is seeing for like, the intricate functions thereof per each chakra, and each chakra, has, a various myriad of functions. And one, the root chakra could be related to your mom, the sacral chakra could be related to your dad, more or less. But just like getting really like directed with the focal of, I guess, the positive benefits of focusing on one thing, and that being like, if the root chakra is in relationship to your mom, then your relationship with your mom more or less dictates your relationships with the world, everybody, and the universe at large, in one sense. So it's like going, it's like, and it's like some wise guru said, like you got to go back and more or less complete with them, it's a unique completion, incomplete to completion road, based on what you have to more or less, quote unquote, salvage and embrace thereof, of like the unique circumstantial road on how you have to mend and recomplete yourself based on any level of trauma or shock that you have experienced. You have to tweak that scenario thereof, and circulating this, practice of, the open source, like unique vocalization expression of, all arts per everybody, but they're basically of like, recompleting yourself in like from multiple levels and from multiple degrees, and taking in uniquely and embracing everybody's constructive, stuff. And it could be bullshit, for better or for worse, based on how your soul has the capacity and tolerance to, tangibilize the true alchemicalization of, any type of projection being darted at you, and somehow trusting your soul to, navigate and mend and intermingle the clearing thereof all, malevolent projections casually. And so pretty much, oh my gosh, 29 minutes. So pretty much, the mom is, And it's like, unfortunately, some of us got dealt bad hands, and who are we to say if that is really fair or unfair? I'm sure it's a little bit of both, you know? There are unfair things that happen in this duality. There are fair things that are happening in this duality, but we don't really know what it is. But unfortunately, it's like, if like you want to change something in the outside world, you have to change something within. That is kind of inaccurate, because like, look at everybody is so enlightened and woke, they're so changed within, but yet they're still sharing the same timeline. That's basic critical thinking. I had that thought like a long time ago, but moving on, it's like, the thing is, unfortunately, like, there is hypocrisy, and it's like, it's a gift if you could really soberly analyze and assess yourself, which is the true sign of intelligence, and actually using that alchemically to transmute your situation, the analysis of your total self, your total analysis of your total self, underline, double underline, and then alchemically using it as a transmutable bridge to actually do what you said you're gonna do. And me owning up to my hypocrisy, me naturally, casually feeling the hypocrisy. And what do I mean by that? It's like, okay, unfortunately, some of us got dealt bad hands, more or less. I mean, that's just my perspective as of now. And unfortunately, there's remnants of the lower mind ego program within everybody, for better, for worse, or not even for better, for worse, but just from like, like you tapping in and dialing into your own neutrality and just seeing like, that's in one channel of my functional soul being. It's not bad or good. It's just an energy of, particles of thought packets, of light packet energies that are just passing through me based on my own evolutionary being. And I get the chance in my grand eternity to actually transform it, and how I could uniquely transform it based on all the supporting assistant energies that are coming to me in whatever form, and that being the highest gift thereof. Seeing all the supporting energies for your eternity, and actually, like, pretty much just, it's like, I'm not calling anybody out. It's the calling, it's the calling of, like, and it's not even me calling it or anybody calling it. It's just the neutral, energetic, mechanical calling of, beyond purpose, of like, just like, signifying your existence for Krish's sake. And okay, and yeah, and like, maybe it's time to, like, gracefully, like, pull the curtain on some things, but it's like, what's the full, like, benefit and accomplishment of that, and how accurate is that? That's its own standard thing. But pretty much, it's like, unfortunately, there's like, some of the lower mind ego program is still, more or less fostered and hosted inside us as a program, and the programs we're replacing within programs. It's all synergy alchemy. Einstein said everything is energy. I disagree. I think every